Hey. So I recently started a super expanded playthrough of Stardew Valley on my channel. It was going very well. We made it to the end of spring and did quite a few things. Then the save file refused to work. It just wasn't loading. And even now as I'm making this video, it still isn't working. While I was trying but so far failing to fix it, I had an idea. Well, it was less of an idea and more of a question. I've spent almost 2,000 hours playing this game, but I would say around 10% of that has been vanilla Stardew Valley. The remaining 90%? Completely modded. So, my question. Would all of the time I've spent playing modded Stardew Valley help me do really well in a vanilla Stardew Valley playthrough? Or would it go so poorly that I would consider not even uploading this video out of sheer embarrassment? That is the question we are going to answer during these next 112, don't forget the 12, 112. Sorry, the next 112 days. But before we do, I set a few goals for myself. By the end of this video, I want to have achieved the following: complete the community center, unlock the mastery room, catch every fish, and earn a total of 1 million gold. So, without any further ado, let's see what happened. Day 1 begins as it pretty much always does. I open the box of parsnips and clear away the weeds in front of the house. I also make sure to place the bed beside the door of the house, just in case. I chop down a few trees to get the 50 wood I need to make a chest before planting my parsnips. A humble beginning to the journey of establishing a thriving metropolis here on the farm. I find a horseradish and a leek, say hello to Linus, and find a second horseradish. The foraging escapades resume near the community center as I find 2 daffodils. I make sure to clear away the weeds beside the center before entering the town center. I introduce myself to the wonderful trash can community and step inside the shop owned by Abigail's father. I've decided I don't like Pierre again. I took a break from being anti-Pierre for a while, but his general aura is not good right now. Moving away from the man with questionable business practices, I spend my money on 1 potato, cauliflower and green bean seed, along with 4 kale seeds. Like I said a few moments ago, humble beginnings. I introduce myself to many more villagers, reminding myself over and over again to work on my friendships as much as possible during spring as I do. Now I may be optimistic, but I'm not naive. Well, I'm not very naive anyway. I am well aware that I am going to completely forget all about these villagers during the next 28 days. However, I'm simply going to live in blissful ignorance until I'm forced to confront my lack of attention towards my friendships. Until that happens, we're all good. I hit level 1 in foraging just before stepping foot on the sandy shores of the beach, so I'm already considering today to be a massive success. By the time I reach the forest, I've introduced myself to 16 of the 28 villagers. That's actually really good for me. I'm feeling oddly proud of myself right now. I take a break from gallivanting around to plant my seeds. Then I return to the forest where I find a disappointing number of spring onions. 0. The number is 0. I do find a daffodil though, so we've already got everything we need for the spring foraging bundle. Oh wait, hang on. I've just found 5 spring onions. I bid adieu to even more weeds on the farm, receiving 4 mixed seeds as I do. I plant them and head to bed, saying goodbye to what was possibly the best first day I've ever had. Day 2 begins with the watering of my crops. I've made a promise to myself that I'm going to water my crops first thing every morning. Truthfully, I have a habit of leaving the farm without doing so, then returning at around midnight to water everything, and it never goes well, ever. So I shall not be doing that here. I say good morning to the trash cans as I make my way to the beach. After receiving the fishing rod from William, I catch the first fish of this playthrough, the herring. This is followed by copious amounts of halibut and sardine, and more herring of course. My goal for today is pretty simple. Fish. Yeah, that's it. Now I know what you're thinking, and I agree. This is absolutely groundbreaking gameplay right here. Absolutely riveting stuff. I'm going to be doing something that I don't do very often. You see, I usually have quite a few other things to do on any given day, especially during the beginning of the playthrough, but not here. So I'm going to be following the meta for Stardew Valley. Now, the meta, for anybody who might not be aware, is to spend basically all of day 2 fishing. I should be able to reach level 2 in fishing today, and more importantly, earn enough gold to buy the fiberglass rod on day 3. That's the goal anyway. Things go very well, until I catch a sardine while having a full inventory. This had a disastrous effect on my vibes. Aside from that though, I'm rather happy with how the fishing shenanigans went today, especially as I did indeed reach level 2, and I earned 665 gold. That's on top of the 660 gold I made earlier in the day. Leeks, dandelions and daffodils seem to be having a convention of sorts at the bus stop on day 3. I very rudely, if I'm being honest, interrupt their meeting and swipe every last one of them. I hit level 3 in fishing, sell a few fish and even more fish, which earns me enough money to get the fiberglass rod. We've now entered part 2 of the meta. I position myself at the river in town, cast my rod and wait anxiously for a catfish to appear. It doesn't take long for one to pop up, and I fail to catch it. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Now it probably doesn't have to be said, but failing to catch a catfish is not part of the meta. I've already messed up. In a moment not unlike The Undertaker losing at WrestleMania 30, I come so very close to catching the second catfish that appeared. Unfortunately, it escaped, leaving me empty-handed and questioning my fishing abilities. I recover very quickly, casting all doubt from my mind as I battle a catfish for the 3rd time. I emerge victorious, which is awful news for the local catfish population. Now that I know I'm capable of catching it, my brain does this, autopilot thing. I don't really know how to describe it. I guess subconsciously I've picked up on the movement of the catfish. So whenever a catfish pops up again, it's very easy for my brain to latch onto it and catch it. The point I'm trying to make here is the probability of me catching any and all catfish that pop up has rose from 2% to about 97.5%. We're in a good position, is what I'm trying to say. I know I'm describing this whole thing in a really over-the-top manner, but all I've been doing for the last 2 days is fishing, so I'm trying to add a bit of flair to it. While that, and I'm also rambling on purpose so I can show footage of me catching 10 catfish today. I was very proud of myself and I wanted to show off a little. Please indulge me, I would appreciate it. I returned to my farm at around 9 PM to throw 29 fish into a chest. I catch an eel at the beach before skedaddling back to the river for the remainder of the night. Level 5 in fishing has been reached, so fish are now worth 25% more gold. After watering all of my crops on the morning of day 4, I make 30 spring seeds. I maybe should have saved one of each spring forage item for the community center, but we've been having pretty decent luck, so I feel like we'll get all 4 of them again before the day is over. If not the end of the day, then the end of the week at the latest. In fact, I already have everything except a daffodil. I find a field snack in a trash can, thank you. I sell my spring seeds to Abigail's father and my fish to William for a total of almost 4,000 gold. I receive a second field snack from a very kind trash can, thank you. I collect spring onions and a daffodil in the forest, and I buy 5 salads and the backpack upgrade. I buy 2 parsnip seeds and spend the remainder of my money on kale seeds. I then plant and water every single seed I have. I chop down a couple of trees and spend the night fishing at the mountain lake. I hit level 2 in foraging. Sensational. I adopt a cat on the dawn of day 5. I decide to name it Kaiba in honor of the greatest CEO that has ever lived. That's a cheeky little Yu-Gi-Oh reference right there. Still my favorite anime of all time. Nothing is ever going to beat that one. In my opinion, anyway. I harvest my parsnips and read a letter from Mom. She sent me cookies, which I very much appreciate. The traveling cart is selling a rare seed. As tempting as it is to buy it, I'm not really in any rush. And I can't plant rare seeds until fall, so I'm happy to take a rain check on this one. After watering my crops, I meet Mayor Lewis outside the community centre. I'm sure we all know the story by now, but just in case anybody is unaware, I'll talk about it anyway. The community centre has been abandoned and Lewis is very upset about it. Luckily for him, I shall be doing the community centre route. Joja Mart will not be getting a single cent from me in this entire playthrough. Unless it's Wednesday and I need seeds. Then yeah, I'll probably give them my money at that point. But outside of that, no Joja. I take a look at the golden scroll in the center, then it's off to the mines. I meet Marlin, a seasoned warrior. Dare I even say he is a veteran in the world of monsters and curiosities. Marlin is well aware of the dangers of exploring this mine system. He warns me to be careful, before giving me the absolute worst weapon he has. Marlin, I'm holding you personally responsible if anything happens to me inside there. And that is for true, the whole true, and nothing but the true. I'm just kidding, Marlin is fantastic. My plan for today is relatively straightforward. I want to get to floor 15 as quickly as possible. Then I'm going to use the elevator to go back to that floor, defeat all of the bugs, return to the surface, go back to floor 15, defeat all of the bugs again, and so on and so forth. I want to replace the rusty I got the wooden club on floor 5, so forget about the rusty sword. What I actually want to do is replace the wood club with the insect head weapon before day 7. Yeah, day 7. You have to defeat 80 bug monsters in order to get that weapon, which is quite a bit. But it's also pretty easy to get it done if you focus exclusively on that enemy for, around 2 days, maybe even a full day at the most. I make it down to floor 15 at around 6:30 PM. I collected a bunch of copper ore and I even found a glow ring along the way, so I'm feeling marvelous right now. I do exactly what I said I would, for maybe a minute. Then I found a ladder and went down to floor 16. I considered going back to floor 15, but I'm finding a lot of copper ore and there are plenty of bugs, so I'm gonna keep going. I find the Stardew Valley Almanac book on floor 18. I stumble down into floor 20 where I find the steel small sword in a chest. Alright, now I'm actually going to farm floor 15. I don't know for certain, but I would be very surprised if I defeated any less than 50 bugs today. I hit level 1 in mining and combat and level 2 in farming. Sweet. The most universally beloved character in all of Stardew Valley has graced us with his presence on day 6. I'm talking about Clinton, of course. But you already knew that, didn't you? The most universally beloved character? I'm curious, how is everybody feeling about Clinton becoming a romance candidate in the next update? The discourse surrounding Clinton is legitimately the most divided I have ever seen the Stardew Valley community. I don't really care, but that's only because I always have Krobus move in with me, so it genuinely has no effect on me. But I'm curious as to what everybody else thinks about it. He gives me the crafting recipe for the furnace. Thank you. Marlin and the wizard have sent me some very important letters. Marlin has challenged me to defeat 10 slimes. After doing so, I will be made an official member of the Adventurers Guild. The wizard wants me to visit him so we can talk about the golden scroll in the community center. As much respect as I have for Marlin, I'm afraid the wizard takes priority here. I make sure to water all of my crops before leaving, at which point I talk business with the wizard. He teaches me the language of magical creatures called Junimos. Our mission to repair the community center has officially begun. Demetrius wants me to defeat 2 rock crabs. Considering who I am as a person, I can almost guarantee I will defeat 2 of them within a couple of minutes of entering the mines today, but then I'll forget to talk to Demetrius so I can actually complete his quest and get my money. I don't want that to happen, but it's going to, and I'm okay with that. I complete the spring foraging bundle, which earns me 30 spring seeds. The pantry and fishing rooms have also opened up. I make 2 furnaces so I can start smelting copper ore, then away I go to floor 15. I wish I could say I actually stayed on floor 15, but I didn't. I went down to floor 16 pretty much immediately. I'm considering this to be a happy little accident though, because there were quite a few bugs on this floor. I continue frolicking around floor 15 over and over again, making sure to keep my furnaces stocked with copper ore while doing so. I may or may not have made another detour into floor 16, but again this ended up being a good thing. I finished off the quest Marlin gave me, which I'm sure has made him very happy, and it certainly has made me very happy because we now have access to the Adventurers Guild. It takes a bit of time, but I eventually defeat bug number 80, and I did so on floor 17, not 15. I'm realizing now how terrible I am at resisting the temptation to go down any ladder I see. I did find an ancient seed though, so I think that justifies the choices I made today. I pay a visit to Marlin and Gil in the guild and grab the insect head. Now that I have a weapon that can do more than simply tickle the enemies in the mines, I can continue onwards towards floor 40. I wasn't able to make it all the way there tonight. I did reach floor 35 though, so I'm happy with that. I harvest potatoes and kale on day 7 while watering my crops. I don't think there's a need for me to mention watering my crops anymore. You can assume I'm doing it every day. I toss many items into the shipping bin and make a few donations to the museum. I receive 250 gold, an ancient seed, and cauliflower seeds. Oh, and the crafting recipe for ancient seeds. I collect a few clams at the beach and deliver many items to the fish tank in the community center. A potato, a parsnip, and a cave carrot have also been donated. I spend the remainder of the day inside the mines. I wasn't sure if I had maybe wasted my time going after all of those bugs to get the insect head, but getting to floor 40 was really easy because of it, so I feel like I made the right choice. I suppose the best thing we could do right now is collect as much iron ore as we can get our hands on. I want to make basic sprinklers, so I kinda have to get iron ore actually, now that I think about it. I pass out on floor 53. I earn over 3,000 gold from the items I tossed into the shipping bin. Shane wants a largemouth bass on day 8, which reminds me actually, I did indeed complete the order Demetrius gave me, and I did indeed also forget to talk to him and get my money. I would be disappointed in myself if I was in any way, shape or form surprised, but I'm not, so yeah. I maneuver my furnaces down beside the mountain lake. I plant ancient and cauliflower seeds and hand my pickaxe over to Clinton. Upgrade that to copper, please. I spend my money on kale and go fishing for the remainder of the day. I've got my furnaces working away beside me. The level of productivity right now is at an all-time high. I've hit level 6 in fishing, which isn't too bad for day 8. Well, for me it isn't bad anyway. I donate a largemouth bass and a winter root to the center on day 9. I say hello to a trash can in front of Lewis. he doesn't seem impressed. Clams, cockles, and oysters greet me when I step foot on the sandy shores of the beach. Unfortunately, that's the end of the good news when it comes to the beach. William has decided he doesn't want to work today. I won't lie, that is incredibly inconvenient. I donate a cockle and an oyster to the center and once again spend the day fishing. I run back to the farm just after midnight so I can throw some fishy wishies into the bin. Over 7,000 gold has been added to my bank account. Day number 10 is already a beautiful day as kale is ready for harvest. As tempting as it is to sell this stuff, I shan't be doing that. My copper pickaxe is ready, so I'm going to use it for energy in the mines instead. Speaking of the mines, I head inside and I go, oops. I seem to have left my furnaces at the lake. There we go. Much better. With my shiny new pickaxe and the insect head at my disposal, I make it down to floor 61 with no issues. That is shortly followed by floor 62, then floor 63, then floor 60 Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. It was a bit of a close call, but I stumbled onto floor 75 right as the day came to an end. That alone is absolutely sterling. What makes it even better is I got the Monster Compendium book too. A parsnip, a green bean, and a couple of carrots are ready on day 11. Today is a rainy day, so we're going back to the meta. That's right, we are going to spend the entire day going after catfish. I chop down a tree or two, buy 258 wood from Robin, and use all 300 pieces of wood to fix the broken bridge at the beach. That was a long sentence. I did this for one very important reason. You can find sea urchin and coral over here. I need both of those items to make a bait maker. I throw a catfish into the bait maker to make catfish bait. Shocking, I know. I'm going to let footage of me catching an absolutely How many times have I said the word absolutely so far? Also, how many times have I interrupted myself or gotten sidetracked by something that is in no way, shape or form important? That happens a lot, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm going to let footage of me catching an absolutely ludicrous amount of catfish play in the background while I talk about something pretty important. I'm facing somewhat of a dilemma right now. I can either work towards getting 42,500 gold, so I can complete the vault room in the community center. That way I can use the bus to get to the desert in time for the desert festival, which takes place on days 15, 16, and 17. You can trade calico eggs for strawberry seeds at this festival. So I'd basically be spending the entire time in the Skull Caverns in order to get enough calico eggs for, we'll say 100 strawberry seeds. Or we can go with option 2. Whatever amount of money I have by day 13, I'll spend all of it on strawberry seeds at the egg festival. Both of them are good options, I think. If I go with option 2, then it won't be anywhere near as stressful. I won't be under as much pressure to earn as much gold as possible during the next, 2 or 3 days. I'm gonna go with option 2, I think. By the time today comes to an end, I have a whopping 26 catfish in my inventory. Between these fish, the Monster Compendium book, and a few other bits and bobs, I should have around 15,000 gold for strawberry seeds. Yeah, forget about the vault room bundles. I'm gonna go for the egg festival option. Thank you for listening to me think out loud. That's pretty much what my videos are. You're basically listening to me thinking out loud in these videos. How have I never realized that before? Let's get back on track with day 12. Lewis has sent me a letter to remind me that the egg festival takes place tomorrow. I steamrolled through the enemies in the mines, making it to floor 80 very quickly. I collect enough gold ore to make a gold bar, and I find a fire quartz, so I'm already happy to call it a day. These are the final 2 items I need for the boiler room in the community center, and I'm kinda scared of the enemies on floor 80 and above, So I'm gonna spend the remainder of the day collecting copper ore. I sell all of my catfish for 8,000 gold. Demetrius is here on day 13. I ask him to add a mushroom producing thing to the cave on the farm. I don't know how it works. All I know is that mushrooms are gonna start growing in the cave from now on. I should probably ask him for more information. It sounds interesting. We have a little bit of time before the festival begins, so off I go to the mines. I grab all of the items that are needed for the boiler room and I move my furnaces to the farm. I spend a few minutes chopping down trees before finally heading into town for the festival. I spend all of my money on strawberry seeds, 170 of them. The egg hunt begins and then it ends. There's not much I can say about this. I won, and I got a straw hat as a reward. Back on the farm, I continue smelting iron bars and make 20 sprinklers. These will cover 80 crops. Considering I bought 170 seeds, that's less than half of them, but it's good enough for now. Day 14 is a rainy day, which means I should be going after catfish again, but I won't be doing that. I'm going to be a very busy bee on the farm today, so fishing is pretty low on the list of priorities right now. I know the way I'm planting my strawberries looks a bit weird, but I want to be able to place a sprinkler in, like, the center of a group of 4 seeds in the future. Please tell me that made sense. I don't know how to explain that better. I donate a green bean and a cauliflower to the center. I receive 20 speed grow and the boiler room bundles have opened up. And they've just been completed. I spend the remainder of the day collecting copper ore. Level 5 in mining has been obtained, so I choose the miner perk. I sprinkle speed grow on the ancient seeds and strawberry seeds on day 15. I know I said I wasn't going to mention me watering my crops anymore, but I felt like I should let you all know that I'm not tired of watering them yet. Normally I get sick of watering my crops by day 5. I gotta say, there is a feeling of serenity and peacefulness on the farm right now. My mood improves even more when I discover that it is salmonberry season. I donate a ghost fish, a yam, and 99 stone. The remainder of the day is spent collecting copper and iron ore. Kale has been harvested on the morning of day 16. I place 11 sprinklers down on the farm, the level of dopamine in my body increasing dramatically with each one I place. If I can make 14 more sprinklers, that should be enough for me to cover the rest of my crops. And so, surprise surprise, it's off to the mines we go. I make 7 sprinklers and plop them down before going to bed. I harvest carrots on the morning of day 17. I grab the copper bars that have finished smelting in the mines and use them to make 5 sprinklers. I make another 2 of them a short while later. I breathe a massive sigh of relief as I place the final one on the ground. Aside from the ancient seeds and cauliflower, every single crop is going to be watered automatically every morning. I spend the majority of the day chopping down trees. Usually I wait until summer or even fall to make a tree farm, but I think the sooner we make one, the better. I plant around 30 oak tree saplings as well as a few maple trees. I have an update when it comes to our skills. We've hit level 6 in mining and level 4 in foraging. I've thought of a new goal I want to achieve as we begin day 18. I have to get a bone sword before I go any further in the mines. Okay, I got one. Nice. The insect head would probably be fine for floors 80 through 90, but the enemies here are really tough, so the bone sword makes me feel a bit safer. I make it down to floor 90 where I find the obsidian edge in a chest. Yeah, the bone sword didn't last very long, but it definitely served its purpose. So thank you, bone sword. Floor 93 is a monster-only floor. That is not very chill. I overcome this massive obstacle and continue on my path to floor 100. I find a star drop in a chest. When I was making my character, for my favorite thing, I wrote mods with a sad face. I really did believe that I would have a miserable time without Automate and mail services and, well, everything really. But I've been having so much fun with vanilla Stardew Valley, so you can ignore the sad face. It doesn't apply at all here. Floor 108 is another monster-only floor, so I say goodbye to any hope of reaching floor 110 today. It turns out, I was completely wrong. I defeat the final enemy to get down to floor 109. Then I break a rock and find a ladder, bringing me down to floor 110. Never before have I been so happy to be so wrong. We only have 10 floors left in the mines, so I feel like we can reach the bottom on day 19. I find a diamond on floor 111, a sign of good things to come in the future, I hope. I find another on floor 114 and very smoothly make my way down to the final floor. The skull key has been obtained. I don't know when I'm going to use it, but I'm happy just to have it. I deliver many gems and artifacts to the museum, sell some items to Clinton, and give him my axe. I sell a single copper bar and use basically all of my money to have a coop built on the farm. I have a few things in mind that I want to achieve before day 29. I want to upgrade my axe and my pickaxe to iron quality, and I want to have a coop, a barn, and a pond on the farm. I mean, the coop is taken care of, so here's hoping I can get the rest of those done too. I wanted to catch an ice pip, but I kept getting ghostfish. I mean, I guess I can eat them for energy during the next week or so, but I also got really annoyed with the ice pip not spawning, so I had to take a break from fishing. I toss gold ore into furnaces and go back to fishing. I catch even more ghost fish. I find the Jewels of the Sea book in a chest. With very little time left in the day, I finally catch an ice pip. And another ghost fish, because of course I do. I decide to go back to floor 60 on day 20. I make ice pip bait, attach it to my rod, and use it to catch a ghost fish. Nah, I'm kidding. I got an ice pip. Then I actually did catch a ghost fish. That might have been karma. My plan was to keep making ice pip bait and spend the day catching ice pips. There's a problem with that plan though. I can already tell that I'm nowhere near ready to catch more than one of those fish in a single day. Mentally and emotionally, psychologically too actually, I'm not ready. I go to floor 20 where I focus on stonefish instead. Things were going pretty well. I caught a stonefish, made bait, and used it to catch more stonefish. The problem is, I got 6 bait from one stonefish. All I got from the next 6 catches was a ghostfish and trash. No stonefish. I don't think it's worth continuing this. I still have to get a sardine for the center, so I relocate to the beach where I spend the remainder of the day fishing. I toss all of my fish except for the sardine and then ice pip into the shipping bin. Day 21 begins with the harvesting of cauliflower. We have our first strawberry harvest. Well, it's more like a prequel. The actual big harvest will be taking place tomorrow, I think. Only a few of them are ready today because of the speed grow. I donate a purple mushroom, a frozen geode, a chub, a red mushroom, a sardine, another red and purple mushroom, and a crystal fruit to the community center. I sell a few crops and buy 100 parsnip seeds. I feel like I'm going to hit level 6 in farming tomorrow after harvesting all of the strawberries. Just to be prepared for quality sprinklers, I'm gonna grab my iron and gold bars from the mines. I hand my axe over to Clinton and then I go back to the mines. I spend pretty much the entire day inside here. I move my furnaces from the mines to the farm just before the day comes to an end. Speaking of the farming skill, I have hit level 6 on day 22. Now the bad news is I won't unlock the crafting recipe for quality sprinklers until I go to bed tonight. That's okay though, there's no rush. I sell all of my strawberries and buy a bunch of different spring seeds. I buy some wood from Robin and ask her to build a barn on the farm. I sell some ghost fish to William and I do not buy the iridium fishing rod. I knew it was 7,500 gold. I think I just wasn't paying attention to how much money I have, I sell a couple of things to Clinton and an ice pip to William so I can afford the rod and 2 cork bobbers. As tempting as it is for me to ramble about anything really, I suppose, so I can have another catfish catching montage playing in the background, I won't. Spring has already gone on for long enough, so I really don't want to add any more to it. Any more than I need to anyway. Today has been a good day. I got the crafting recipe for quality sprinklers, I hit level 9 in fishing, and I earned about 7,000 gold. I make 15 quality sprinklers to begin day 23. I toss a few quartz into a furnace, so I'll be able to make 5 more very soon. I plant around 90 parsnip seeds, at which point I realize I haven't upgraded my pickaxe to iron quality yet. Off I go to Clinton's. I collect my axe from him, smelt a few bars, and hand over my pickaxe. I plant the remainder of my parsnip seeds and chop down a tree log in the forest. I now have access to the secret woods. I pick up a moral and catch the wood skip. I take a moment to admire my farm on day 24. Don't get me wrong, it looks atrocious. It does, however, feel incredibly satisfying having all of these sprinklers. The flower festival takes place today. While I am waiting for it to begin, I chop down some trees. Then I attend the event where I buy a rare crow and the tub of flowers crafting recipe. The second, smaller strawberry harvest occurs on day 25. One quick visit to the mines later and I've got all the coal I need to smelt some copper bars. I hand them over to Clinton along with my hoe. I ask Marnie to add 4 chickens to the coop. I name them Tommy, Ken, and Kent. I finish off the construction bundle and spend the day fishing. Day 26 is a rainy day, which means we have some fishing to do. But we're not going after catfish, no. I have a different plan for today. I sell my strawberries, find a mussel on the beach, and sell some fish. I buy a trout soup and 2 cork bobbers. The donation of the mussel I found finishes off the crab pot bundle. I make my way up to the mountain lake. I cast my rod into the water, and I wait, and wait, and oh, here it is. The legend appears and it demolishes me. My second attempt was somehow far worse than my first attempt. I don't know how I managed that, but I did. Third time is the charm, however, as I managed to catch it after a lengthy battle. I really didn't think I would be doing this much fishing, but I'm actually enjoying it. It's relaxing, in a weird, confusing, sometimes painful kind of way. Would any of you be surprised if I said I spent the entirety of day 27 fishing? Because that's what I did. I'm facing a bit of a conundrum right now, if I'm being honest. I don't know whether to sell the legend or keep it and ask Robin to build a pond. I have to build a pond. Never mind, I know what I'm doing. There are many parsnips to be harvested as we begin day 28. I donate a sunfish, a wood skip, a parsnip and 5 more, and I sell my parsnips and fish. I won't lie, I legitimately contemplated selling the legend, but I've got 46,000 gold right now. I really only wanted 40,000 gold for blueberries in summer, so I'm good. Everything is gravy right now. I ask Robin to build a pond before turning my attention to the final 2 fish, the lava eel and the goby. Full transparency, I'm surprised by how well spring has gone. I don't know how I managed to do this. We've made 133,000 gold. Our skills are looking pretty good. You can ignore the level 11 in fishing, by the way. I get a +1 boost from the trout soup. I'm actually level 10, not level 11. Combat and farming are level 6, mining is level 7, and foraging is level 4. That last one could be better, but pretty good all around. When it comes to the area of friendships, I don't want to talk about it. I don't think I've given a single gift to anybody. This is going to be an issue in the future. Oh well, we have an iron axe and pickaxe and a copper hoe. We've got a barn, a coop and a pond. And we have enough sprinklers to cover at least 250 crops. We've laid the perfect groundwork for an amazing summer. Speaking of which, let's get started. Mother has sent me a cake on day 29. Not a bad way to start summer. I clear away the remains of the crops from spring and plant a few coffee beans. I buy a grand total of 500 blueberry seeds. I already know what my goal for summer is. It's pretty simple. I want to have 120,000 gold heading into fall, so I really do need to make the most out of every single day. After donating a few artifacts, I went back to the farm to retrieve all of my geodes. I received the copper hoe from Clinton, sell a few items, and use the last of my money to crack every geode open. I get the achievement for donating 40 items, so that's good. I crack open the rest of my geodes, selling a few bits and bobs while I do. With the museum looking much better than it did during spring and a few gold bars smelting, I turn my attention to the farm. I spend the remainder of the day planting all of my seeds and continuing to smelt gold and iron bars. Unfortunately, I didn't get all of the seeds planted, but I did get around 350 of them down. I hit level 5 in foraging, so I choose the forager perk. I tossed the legend into a pond to begin day 30. We might get lucky and receive legend row tomorrow morning. We could really use some money right now. I chop down a few trees and plant the remainder of my blueberry seeds. I'm going to need as much time as possible every day to focus on, everything that isn't watering crops. So I'm gonna have to make another 20 quality sprinklers minimum. With that in mind, I spend the day in the mines. The main item here isn't iron ore. I mean, I'm still collecting every ore I come across, don't get me wrong. But no, coal is what's really important here. I know you can buy coal from Clinton, but it would be really expensive and I just don't have the money right now. I finished the day with 5 iron bars, 5 more iron bars being smelted, and 46 iron ore in my inventory. Combining all of that together gives us 19 iron bars. There was an earthquake during the night. Interesting. I find a spiceberry at the bus stop on the morning of day 31. The iron ore scavenging session resumes. It doesn't last too long though, as I've already got all of the ore I need by 8 in the morning. I make another furnace before turning my attention to gold ore. My tactic for getting ore is pretty simple, but it actually works out really well most of the time. I take the elevator down to an even number floor. For example, if I want gold ore, then I start off on floor 80 or floor 90. Then I go down to floor 81 or 91. A lot of the time, at least one chunk of gold ore is waiting for me. If I find a ladder within a few seconds, I go down it. If I don't, no big deal. I return to the surface and do the same thing again. This method of mine worked so well today that coal immediately became a massive bottleneck. I need coal, basically, and a lot of it. So I return to the icy floors in search of that frustratingly valuable resource. After a bit of time, I've got enough resources to make 3 quality sprinklers. I have 22 iron bars, 9 gold bars, and 7 more gold bars being smelted. The problem is, I forgot to make refined quartz. Whoops. The legend has produced 2 row. Don't mind if I do. I place my 3 sprinklers, water my crops, and make 3 more sprinklers. 3 more pieces of Legend Row have been produced on day 32. Beautiful, thank you. I sell 2 of them. Then the fish smoker crafting recipe catches my eye. I sell the remaining 3 immediately and buy the recipe. Some quartz is ready in the mines, which means I can finally make 11 sprinklers and 2 preserve jars. Row is worth twice as much if you toss it into a preserve jar. So in a way I missed out on 12,000 gold by selling the row, but I needed the money, so it is what it is. I finish off the summer foraging bundle and receive 30 summer seeds as a reward. I planted a few coffee beans at the bottom of the farm, so I place a sprinkler down to cover them. And with that, every crop is being covered by sprinklers, which means I can focus on things other than farming for the foreseeable future. The first order of business is to catch the crimson fish. I was feeling rather confident because of my victory against the legend. Maybe too confident. The crimson fish destroyed me when it showed up for the first time. Now that may have been a humbling experience, but it gave me all the motivation I needed to catch it when it showed up again. I want to talk about a little fish known as the super cucumber. If you chose the perk that adds 50% more to the value of fish, a gold star cucumber sells for 560 gold. If you toss it into a smoker, that becomes 1100 gold. It also isn't too difficult to catch. If you know what its movement strategy is, then you should be fine. As soon as the minigame begins, it goes upwards really quickly. After around 1 second, it goes back down. From there, it alternates between going up and down. Once you get that pattern down, it's pretty easy to catch it. The only drawback is it only spawns between 6 PM and 2 AM. I did a bit of research into the other fish that spawn during summer. The second most valuable one is the sturgeon. Now that one spawns between the hours of 6 AM and 7 PM, which is perfect. We can focus on sturgeon until 6 PM, then run down to the beach and focus on cucumber. I think we have a solid plan here. A single piece of Legend Row has been acquired on day 33. I mean, 1 is good, but I want more, please. I do a bit of fishing at the beach to get a tuna and a red snapper for the community center. Then I buy the training rod and a couple of cork bobbers from William. I want to make 2 smokers, and I may have eaten all of my sea jelly during spring. That wasn't the smartest choice I've ever made. If you use a training rod at the beach during summer, you're limited to catching trash, seaweed, and jelly. And red snapper, apparently. This complicates things. That fish only spawns when it's raining, so I'm gonna wait until tomorrow to go for sea jelly. I don't really know what to do today now. Wait, yeah I do. I catch a sturgeon and toss it into the bait maker. Okay, we've got bait. Let's see how effective my plan really is. It's pretty effective. I end up having 14 sturgeon in my inventory by the time 7 PM rolls around. I donate a tuna, a red snapper, and a sturgeon to the center before settling down at the beach. As I watch cucumber after cucumber after cucumber be yoinked out of the ocean, I can't stop myself from thinking about all of the wonderful things I'll be able to buy with the money I will be making in the very near future. As long as I keep making cucumber bait and sturgeon bait, we essentially have an unlimited source of income. Granted, I will need a lot of coal in order to smoke all of the fish. I'm not going to worry about that right now though. That is a problem for another day. At long last I head to bed feeling very proud of how today went. Day 34 is Sea Jelly Day. I'm not looking forward to this. I need 2 of them. Minimum 2. When I get the if I get the second one, I'll spend another minute trying to get a third one. If I get it, fantastic, I have 3 smokers. Maybe it's just me, but sometimes it feels like the game knows when you're looking for a specific item, and it just doesn't give you that item. For whatever reason, it decided to go completely out of its way to make sure it becomes impossible for you to get it. Like right now, for example. I found 4 or 5 sea jelly during spring without even realizing. But I can already tell that the game isn't going to make it easy for me to get even 1 jelly today. Everything became even worse when the octopus showed up and I spent 90 seconds in a state of complete panic. I had to use every single ounce of willpower in my body to defeat it. I did it, but it was the single worst experience of this entire playthrough so far. Then, as if the universe was attempting to apologize to me for what it just put me through, I get a sea jelly. Then a second, then a third. Apology accepted. I make 3 smokers, buy some coal, and toss a load of fish into the shipping bin. I donate a tilapia to the center and use a warp totem to teleport to the beach. And here is where I spend the remainder of the day. Today was tough. Very, very tough. But we did it. We got through it. And we have everything we need to make the most of summer. Coffee and ancient fruit have been harvested on day 35. Not a lot of either one of them, but it's nice to get even one of these wonderful items. I want to upgrade my pickaxe to gold quality. Or my axe. I'm not sure which one. Either way, I have to get gold ore in order to do so. I sell 7 smoked sturgeon, 22 super cucumber, and 1 lava eel to earn a delicious 34,000 gold. I really wanted to buy hundreds of seeds, but I don't really need them. So I buy 75 coal instead. I toss gold ore into furnaces, buy a full stack of wood from Robin, and ask her to upgrade the barn. It is time to go fishing once again. I'm trying to show as much footage of me fishing as possible, just so you can see how busted the bait maker is. Whether it's catfish or sturgeon or super cucumber, that machine works so well that it's almost broken. Not that I'm complaining, please don't nerf the bait maker. Concerned ape, don't do it. Please, you already took the tea saplings from me. Don't take the bait maker from me too. Please. I'm gonna dial back how much of the fishing footage I show. Nothing changes. It's pretty much the same experience every time, so you won't be missing out on very much. I earn a delicious 9,000 gold. 1 cucumber, 9 sturgeon. Smoked, of course. That's all it took for 9,000 gold. Like I said, busted. Day 36 is when the grind truly begins. I spend a bit of time at the mountain lake before visiting Clinton and asking him to upgrade my pickaxe. The sturgeon catching adventure continues until around 6 p.m. I was making sure to smoke all of the fish I was catching, and more importantly, I tossed one of them into the bait maker every once in a while so I wouldn't run out of bait. Then I moved down to the beach where I remain until midnight. If I'm being honest, I messed up. I used up all of my cucumber bait, and somehow I went the entire night not catching a single one. Despite that, however, I still made 24,000 gold. I begin day 37 by waiting for Robin to get out of bed so I can ask her to upgrade my coop. I spend the remainder of the day chopping down trees, breaking rocks, and clearing away all of the weeds. I also move my furnaces to the farm so I can make bars while I was doing everything I just mentioned. I continue chopping down trees and, in general, cleaning up the farm on the morning of day 38. I place a charcoal kiln beside my furnaces. You can use this machine to turn 10 pieces of wood into 1 piece of coal. It isn't much. Yeah, no, it isn't much. I retrieve my pickaxe and go on a copper ore scavenging hunt. I make 5 more kilns a short while later. That's a lot better. I'm not going to think about how much wood I'm using every time. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to get sad. I continue collecting and smelting copper ore for the remainder of the day. I make 14 tappers on day 39 and put them on oak trees. The luau takes place today, which is amazing news for me because it means I get to do absolutely nothing. More importantly, I don't feel bad for doing nothing on this day. I toss a gold quality cauliflower into the soup. The governor loves it. I am ready to admit something on day 40. When I caught the legend back in spring, for the briefest of moments I really did consider selling it. I'm ashamed of that. It may have only been a couple of seconds of weakness, but I'm not proud of it. The roe it produces is a very easy way to get a few thousand gold every couple of days. I plant many a tree sapling, making my farm look even worse in the process. I ask Robin to build a second pond, and that is it for today. I've made a harrowing discovery on day 41. I thought I gave my axe to Clinton 2 days ago. Clearly I didn't, because I just found it in a chest. This will not do. I sell roe and hand my axe over to Clinton. I spend the day fishing at the river in the forest. I wanted to catch a dorado. I didn't. Maybe it's on holiday or something, I don't know. It didn't show up today, is what I'm trying to say. I was very sad about this. I'm glad I planted all of those tree seeds when I did because the green rain is here on day 42. The rain makes a lot of the trees in the valley grow, including the ones on my farm. Things get even better when I realize it is time for the first blueberry harvest of the season. I gather all of the moss and fiber that I can find on the farm. Then I do something that I don't think I've ever done during the Green Rain event. I go to the mines. I need some gold ore so I can make mega bombs. You'll find out why very soon. I promise. Abigail's father has decided to take the day off so he can, be with his family during this terrifying weather or whatever. Inconvenient. I spend the day collecting as much fiber and moss as I can get my hands on. This is why I made the mega bombs. There's a tree that drops fiddlehead ferns when you chop it down. I don't have my axe, so I can't do it the traditional way, we'll call it. What I can do is use all of the bombs I made to destroy it, and get the fiddlehead ferns that way. The very first aged legend roe has been acquired on day 43, and our second blueberry harvest takes place. I sell both of these items, earning me a little under 100,000 gold. I buy all of the summer crop seeds just to have them. Those 100 melons are important actually. I need 5 gold star melons for the community center. I forgot the name of the place for a second there. That's never happened before. I retrieve my axe from Clinton and buy 250 copper and iron ore. I grab my furnaces in the mines, buy a bunch of wood from Robin, sell some shad to William, and ask Robin to upgrade the coop. I plant even more tree saplings, place tappers on oak trees, and chop down even more trees. I make tree fertilizer on the morning of day 44. I made more tappers, put them on trees, tossed ores into furnaces, and covered more saplings in fertilizer. I plant all of my melon seeds along with a pepper and a tomato seed. And, that's it. Day 45. I chop down more trees and finish putting tappers on all of the oak trees that have grown. I put one on a maple tree too, just because. I head over to the mines to get gold ore for quality sprinkler purposes. I round off the day with a tree chopping session in the forest. Day 46 is when things begin to feel a bit repetitive. I load my charcoal kilns with wood and my furnaces with ore. I collect roe and aged roe. Then I gather a tiny bit more gold ore. But hey, just because something is repetitive doesn't mean it's bad. A lot of good things are repetitive. We're still being productive, so yeah. After harvesting a field of blueberries, I finally don't make quality sprinklers. I forgot about the refined quartz. I keep doing that. Back to the furnaces we go. While I'm waiting, I sell the blueberries I harvested and have my heart broken inside Robin's shop. She isn't here. I decide to buy the price catalog to cheer myself up. Then I become even happier when I see that it's already time to collect 14 oak resin. I make 11 kegs, which might have been a waste of resources at this point. I can make coffee. That's about it, really. I make 7 sprinklers and 3 more sprinklers to cover the entire patch of melons. Level 10 in farming has finally been reached. I choose the perk that makes our crops grow 10% faster. Day 47. Blueberries, bars, coffee, sprinklers. Backpack upgrade number 2 has been acquired. I buy 5 whole stacks of wood and 350 stone. The barn has been upgraded for the 3rd and final time. I make a seed maker and toss an ancient fruit into it. To finish off the day, I plant a few seeds. Day 48. I want to sincerely thank the past version of myself who decided to keep the legend and put it in a pond, and most importantly, not sell it. The Trout Derby is taking place today. I initially planned on spending the entire day here, until I caught around 20 rainbow trout, and I only got 3 golden tags. So I trade them in for a tent kit, espressos, and a quality sprinkler. I catch a puffer fish, which I believe is the final summer fish I have to catch. If I unlock the bus to the desert, I'll be able to catch the sandfish and the scorpion carp, which I think I want to do before the end of summer. Quelle surprise! I spend the day in the mines gathering ore. I'm realizing now on day 49 that I maybe should have made more preserve jars. I would have been more efficient with making aged roe if I had. So many things to do, so little time. The item at the tippy top of the list of things for me to do is get more ore, and ask Robin to build a silo for me, but gathering ore is definitely number 1. My favorite time of the week, the massive blueberry harvest session, takes place on day 50. I collect oak resin, sell my blueberries, and spend 42,500 gold to complete the vault room in the center. This should maybe, hopefully, please give me something new to do. Although I have been finding a sort of odd, serene comfort in the routine we've established during summer. It really has been a nice, peaceful time. Day 51 should be a big day for us. I bought salads in the saloon yesterday, and I'm probably going to eat a lot of them during our visit to the desert today. More specifically, to the Skull Caverns. After taking care of my blueberry harvesting and oak resin collection duties, I waste no time at all in entering these perilous caverns. I collect ores, gems, and artifacts. I wish I could say I found a prismatic shard, but I did not, so I cannot. I'm using a pretty simple tactic here. Any gold ore I find is being turned into mega bombs. Yeah, that's the entire tactic. I pass out on floor 51. We can now find mystery boxes. We have received a letter from Mr. Key on day 52. If I can make it past floor 25 in the Skull Caverns, he'll send me a mountain of gold. I did that yesterday, so I shall be receiving my money in the mail tomorrow. I pop a dinosaur egg into an incubator, throw iridium ore into furnaces, and make 4 preserve jars. I need a bottle of wine for the community center, so I toss a salmon berry into a keg. I crack open many a geode and donate everything I can to the museum. A piece of cloth and oak resin have been donated to the community center. The exotic foraging bundle is done and dusted. I spend quite a bit of gold on quite a few new animals. Mr. Key has sent me 10,000 gold on day 53. I buy an apple and pomegranate sapling and place a lightning rod down. I buy 50 pieces of coal before returning to my happy place, the lake up at the mountain. I did say at the beginning of summer that I want to have 120,000 gold heading into fall. I have 237. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We are going to be doing a monumental amount of fishing all the way up until the end of day 56. And we start right now. I go fishing for sturgeon until 7 p.m. Then I move down to the beach. I focus on super cucumber for the remainder of the night. Day 54 begins with a battery pack. Lovely. I plant both of the fruit tree saplings I bought yesterday, harvest all of the blueberries, and sell enough of them to make 5,000 gold. I buy 11 copper ore and 60 hay, pop the ore into furnaces, and use the hay to feed my animals. I grab a maple syrup and toss the remaining hay into the silo. I hand my watering can over to Clinton before spending the day fishing. Emily is here on day 55. She tells me I can use the sewing machine inside her house. I don't think I will, but thank you anyway. I participate in the final blueberry harvest session of the summer. A tomato and a pepper have also been harvested. I make a bee house and place it down so I can get honey for the community center. Jelly, a tomato, and a blueberry have all been donated. Even more fishing. And finally we arrive to day 56, the last day of summer. I harvest melons, which I truthfully forgot were growing. We should earn a pretty penny from these. I also have over 40 smoked fish and 1,000 blueberries all ready to be tossed into the shipping bin. I plant 10 corn seeds and say hello to my animals. I throw the items I mentioned into the shipping bin. I go fishing for sturgeon and cucumbers. I don't want to know how many times I've said the words sturgeon and cucumber during these last 28 days. It must have been so many times. 30 each minimum. Also, I lied. I've decided not to do any fishing today. I can't be bothered. I donate a regular quality melon and 5 gold star melons, finishing off the summer crops bundle as I do. I plant a few more ancient seeds before saying goodbye to what has been a wonderful summer. I earn a delicious 177,000 gold. A duck egg has been acquired on day 57. I buy 5 pumpkin and 2 eggplant seeds for donation purposes, along with 500 cranberry seeds. We should be able to harvest these at least 5 times, and get around 60,000 gold from each harvest. I retrieve my watering can, buy some coal and gold ore, and ask Robin to upgrade the house. I find a hazelnut, make a few quality sprinklers, and get started on planting all of my seeds. Cranberry, wheat, broccoli, eggplant, mixed, and flower seeds are all going down. At some point I'll probably buy 50 pumpkin and fairy rose seeds. They would make for really good gifts, and I really need to start working on my friendships soon. For now, I am happy to report that every single crop is being covered by sprinklers. I know I invested a lot of time into gathering the resources to make the sprinklers, but I feel like it was worth it. Oh, and sunflowers too. I decided to buy and plant 10 of them, simply because they too make for good gifts. Before the day comes to an end, I toss some items into the shipping bin. I earn a tasty 25,000 gold. I say hello to my animals on day 58. I gotta make sure they're feeling good if I want to complete the community center before the first year is done. So that I shall do. After making a couple of cork bobbers, I head into town. The special orders board has been built, which should give us something new to do every week. Demetrius wants me to catch 10 albacore. I catch legendary fish number 3 in this playthrough, the angler fish. I sell a couple of bars to Clinton, give him my pickaxe, and do a bit more fishing at the river in town. I catch a salmon and a tiger trout before moving over to the desert. The scorpion carp is a really tough one. I would put it one level below the octopus. Talking about the octopus, I genuinely believe that fish is the most difficult one to catch. Even more so than the legend. Maybe even the glacier fish too. After catching both of the fish that can be caught in the desert, I pick up a few coconuts and cactus fruit. I also buy a few beet seeds. Another shopping spree is on the agenda as I buy 7 crab pots from William. I decide to go on a bit of a foraging run throughout the forest. I find a blackberry and a mushroom, leaving me with only a wild plum to obtain. I collect roe from a preserve jar, grab a few more crab pots from a chest, and add them to the ones I placed in town. I settle down at the beach for a nice relaxing night of fishing. Demetrius's order has been completed in no time at all, mainly because of the bait maker. I receive 1,120 gold for doing so, and I'll get the crafting recipe for the computers sent to me in the mail tomorrow morning. I want to buy an auto grabber. That's what I'm thinking on day 59. Specifically for the barn, so I won't have to use a pail to collect all of the milk. After planting my beets, that is exactly what I do. I also buy some hay which I throw into the silo. Today is going to be a big donation day. It begins in Clinton's where I crack open many a geode. I deliver everything I can to the museum. I grab the translation guide, a rare crow and a few seeds, find a wild plum and plant the pumpkin seeds I picked up at the museum. A snail has been produced by the crab pots. I do have to get a periwinkle and a crayfish before I move these pots down to the beach, however. I catch a walleye and donate it to the community center, along with a tiger trout and a sandfish. The fishing room has been completed. 3 rooms down, 3 more to go. A bottle of wine, a duck egg, and wool have all been delivered to the pantry room. And I donate all 4 foraging items. I catch a midnight carp literally 1 second before passing out. I harvest wheat and hay on the morning of day 60. Milk and goat milk have begun to appear. They aren't large milk, so I can't donate them, but what I can do is make a cheese press and turn them into, well, cheese, which I can donate to the community center. I have more oak resin than I know what to do with. I debated making more kegs, but they wouldn't really be worth it right now. We don't have anything to toss into them. I place tappers on 2 oak trees and a maple tree, collect my iridium pickaxe, and put bait into my crab pots. I sell legend roe, grab ores and geodes from my chest in the mines, and talk to the dwarf for the first time. The reality of not doing any work on my friendships is really beginning to get to me. I need to make even a tiny bit of progress on my friendships or I'm gonna start panicking. This won't be good. I buy the crafting recipe for a Mackie roll and spend the rest of my money on coffee. I enter the mushroom cave for the first time. I should have picked fruit. I feel like I made a mistake. I would have had the artisan bundle completed by now if I had. Oh well. I collect hardwood in the secret woods and make cheese presses and quality sprinklers. Eggplants are ready on day 61. No sign of a large egg from our chickens yet, but I'm sure it'll show up soon. A crayfish has been produced by the crab pot. Lovely. I want to talk about the whole friendship thing for a bit while I go through the skull caverns. I have 2 ideas on how to approach it. The first, I could put a chest in every villager's house and fill each chest with items that every villager in that house loves. Some of them will be easy. Gold bars, pumpkins, snails, fairy roses. Basically things I already have or can get really easily. But there are a lot of villagers who love dishes or crops that I can't grow right now. So it wouldn't be very effective. Which brings me to option 2. Now, this one is a lot easier. That is, after I've done all of the work required to actually make this happen. Basically, I would buy 2 or 3 more coops, then I would fully upgrade all of them, and fill them with rabbits. Rabbits produce a rabbit's foot. Every single villager except Penny loves this item. So it would make friendships a lot easier, but there is a problem. In order to buy and fully upgrade a single coop, 34,000 gold. 12 rabbits, 96,000 gold. In total, that's 130,000 gold for one coop. It also takes a bit of time for rabbits to even begin producing the rabbit's foot. I'm gonna go with the first option, for now. There is a very high chance that I'll eventually swap over to the second option. My adventure in the Skull Cavern went pretty well. I passed out on floor 94. A truffle has been found on day 62. I make mega bombs, sell a few salads so I can afford a bus ticket, and swap Omni Geodes for desert warp totems and artifact troves. I spend the remainder of the day in the Skull Caverns. I make it all the way down to floor 100. Unfortunately, it isn't winter, which means I don't have the magnifying glass, which in turn means I can't get secret notes. In order for Mr. Key to appear on floor 100, you have to read a specific one of those notes. The point I'm trying to make here is Mr. Key isn't here. I got 3 rain totems instead, which I feel is a fair compromise. Cranberries have been harvested on day 63. Ancient seeds are being planted, and I'm making lightning rods. Today is already a phenomenal day. I sell all of my cranberries for a whopping 94,000 gold. So I buy pumpkin, fairy rose, and sunflower seeds while I'm in the shop. I buy 100 coal and iron ore and give my axe to Clinton. I crack open geodes and artifact troves. We've absolutely donated more than 60 items at this point, so we should receive the key to the sewer tomorrow morning. I meet William up in the mountain. He gives me the copper pan for completing the fishing room in the community center. I decide to buy rice, salads, and coffee. I cook a fried egg and a maki roll before planting fairy rose, pumpkin, sunflower, and amaranth seeds. Gunther is here on day 64. I don't know what I'm more excited about, receiving the key to the sewer, or seeing all of those lovely battery packs ready to collect in the background. Broccoli, sunflowers, and beets are all harvested, and I make 5 more lightning rods. The dinosaur egg has hatched. I call it Trevor. I donate a maple syrup, a truffle, a maki roll, a fried egg, hay, wheat, a sunflower, regular cheese, and goat cheese to the community center. Robin has an order for me. She wants me to collect 1,000 pieces of stone. There's a very easy way to get this done. You can buy all of the stone from her shop. Is it a lazy way of doing this order? Yeah, but it's also what I'm probably going to do. The remainder of the day is spent walking around town putting a chest in everybody's house. If I have items that the villagers in a house love, then I put them in the chest. If I don't, I guess they're not getting anything for a while. To be honest, I'm already getting tired of doing this. And I haven't even started actually giving items to people. I'm gonna go with the rabbit's foot idea. I'm not putting myself through this. I can't do it. I'm sorry. If anybody out there is watching this, and you're able to, give each villager a different item, rather than just give rabbit's foot to everybody, I want you to know that you're a stronger person than I am. I'm a weak man in your dojo of courage and bravery. I can't do what you do. I harvest fall forage on day 65. I make 50 fall seeds and find a large egg and a large brown egg in the coop. I visit Clinton to get my iridium axe, pick up all the forage I can find on my way back to the farm, and use the forage I've already found to make 30 more seeds. I plant mahogany tree seeds for some easy hardwood in the future, and I plant my fall seeds too. the day ends with a trip to the secret woods for even more hardwood. Iridium bars, aged roe, and truffles are all acquired on the morning of day 66. I say hello to my animals before using a warp totem to get to the desert. I've decided to use an ancient tactic known as reverse psychology. Basically, I'm not using bombs or drinking coffee. I'm simply walking around the caverns. I'm taking my time and I'm trying to be as nonchalant as possible. Why am I doing this, you might say? That is a good question. I'm trying to make the Skull Caverns believe that I'm only here to pass the time, nothing else. I don't want gems, I don't want ores, I don't want anything. I especially do not want a prismatic shard. If we apply the basic rules of Stardew Valley, the game should realize that I'm no longer going after a specific item, the prismatic shard. Then and only then will I get the item I want. After 14 minutes of casually walking through the caverns, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I got a prismatic shard. It worked. I've said this before. If the game realizes that you're trying to get a specific item, it's going to be a long time before you get that item. I trade the prismatic shard for the galaxy sword before calling it a day. Fairy roses have been harvested on day 67. I craft an oil maker, sell a few items, and ask Robin to build a coop. This is the first rabbit coop. This could be the biggest waste of money I ever experienced in my entire life, but I'm not going to think about that. This has to work. Please work. I move my crab pots to the beach, fill them with bait, and plant mixed and ancient seeds. I grab a truffle oil that was produced by an oil maker and skedaddle over to the community center. I donate the oil, an eggplant, 2 large eggs, and a large milk. Day 68 begins with a massive cranberry harvest. Pumpkins and corn are ready too. I give my pan to Clinton, sell a few cranberries, and use my money to buy the Combat Quarterly book. I then trade it for a monster musk. I donate 5 gold corn, a normal corn, and a pumpkin to finish off the crops room. Only 2 more rooms left to go. I sell a few more cranberries and use the money I get to buy a star drop from Krobus and a void egg. I crack open artifact troves, donate 1 item to the museum, and check out the traveling cart. No red cabbage. Sad times. I return to the sewer to catch the mutant carp. Only 1 more legendary fish remains, the glacier fish. I toss a void egg into the incubator before the day comes to an end. I make 5 iridium sprinklers to begin day 69. We have finally unlocked the greenhouse, which means I can plant all of the seeds I bought during spring and summer. I spend the remainder of the day in the Skull Caverns. Sunflower, pumpkin, and broccoli have all been harvested on day 70. I want to make an iridium band, but I need 50 void and solar essence for it. I'm gonna try to get that item soon. I want one. The achievement for earning a total of 1 million gold has been unlocked. I buy 1 each of the fruit tree saplings, all of the cooking recipes, and 10 coffee. I retrieve my pan from Clinton and ask him to upgrade it again. I crack open 3 artifact troves, make a donation to the museum, and pick up a rare crow and a triple shot espresso. I buy the rest of the stone I need for Robin's order and ask her to upgrade the coop. I go through the mines to get solar and void essence. I managed to get all of the void essence with no issues whatsoever. The solar essence is a different story altogether though. I'm gonna have to get the burglar ring or this is gonna take way too long. On the bright side, one of the bats I defeated dropped a prismatic shard. There we go again. The game knew I wasn't actively searching for one, so it gave me one. I earned 19,000 gold from the items I threw into the shipping bin. Robin has sent me the crafting recipe for the stone chest on day 71. I find a rabbit's foot and a dinosaur egg in the coop before harvesting all of the fall forage that has grown. I make and then plant 120 fall seeds. After buying salads, I spend the day in the Caverinos. The Stardew Valley Fair takes place on day 72. I earn 4 star tokens by getting the best and worst result on the hammer swing strength game thing. I don't know what it is, but I did it twice. Each. I come first place in the Grange display competition, earning a tasty 1000 tokens. I did the fishing game while Lewis was judging my stall to get another 840 tokens. I decide to bet all of my tokens on green. Now, assuming it lands on green, we're good. Like, we don't have to bother with the fair anymore. We'll have enough tokens for the rare crow, the star drop, and hay. The wheel landed on orange. Of course it did. Why wouldn't it? I earned 204 tokens by playing the slingshot game. I bet all of them on green, and this time I actually win. I bet all of my tokens on green again, and it lands on orange. I see what's happening here. I earn over 700 tokens from the fishing game. I bet them all on green and win. I do it again, and we're back to square one. I earn 696 tokens, then 756, then 780, then 708, and another 780. That took quite a while. I didn't enjoy today. It wasn't very fun for me. I buy a rare crow, a star drop, and 100 pieces of hay. Evelyn is here on day 73. She gives me a garden pot. Thank you. I harvest fairy roses, collect my gold pan from Clinton, and donate a prismatic shard and a dinosaur egg to the museum. I head to Robin's and ask her to upgrade the coop for the final time. The wizard has 2 orders for me. I, of course, go for the prismatic jelly order. I crack open some geodes, bring 1 item to Gunther, and head to the mines. 2 amazing things happened while I was here. I complete the Dougie eradication goal, and I find prismatic jelly. The wizard's order has been completed on day 74. I won't receive the crafting recipe for Monster Musk until tomorrow morning, so I won't be going to the Skull Caverns today. Oh well. I sell a variety of crops and hand my pan to Clinton for one final time. Robin isn't in her shop, which makes a lot of sense considering she's currently on my farm working on the coop. I spend the rest of the day chopping down trees and planting more saplings in their place. The crafting recipe for Monster Musk has indeed been received on day 75. I make a mountain warp totem, head to Marnie's, and add 12 rabbits to the coop. Well, I thought I bought 12 of them. I only bought 11 of them. It isn't a big deal though. I can easily buy another one tomorrow. I ask Robin to build another coop and sell some of my wood to reach 8,000 gold. I use a farm warp totem, throw everything I don't need into a chest, and use my 3rd totem of the day. One of the mummies I defeated dropped a lucky ring. The rest of my time in the Skull Caverns went pretty much the same way it usually does, except with one small difference. I got knocked out. The good news is the Monster Musk is still active. I'm not gonna let it go to waste, so off I go to the mines for the remainder of the night. I say good morning to all of my rabbits on day 76. Tulips, potatoes, radish, kale, and blue jazz are ready in the greenhouse. Lovely stuff. I plant summer seeds, tomatoes, poppies, green beans, and rice shoots in their place. I collect my iridium pan, sell iridium bars, and buy 6 coffee. Then I buy the 12th and final rabbit for the first rabbit coop. Here are the eradication goals. I need to defeat 154 dust sprites, 23 bats, 12 skeletons, and 8 rock crabs. There are other ones, but these are the ones I'm almost finished with. I decide to start with the skeletons, getting that one done in only a couple of minutes. After harvesting forage on day 77, I make 400 fall seeds. Then I spend the entire day planting all of them. I make 6 mayonnaise machines before going to bed. And I earn 30,000 gold. Cranberries are ready on day 78, which means we are about to earn another 90,000 gold. I buy salads and coffee before accepting an order from William. He wants 100 pieces of bug meat. I bring my watering can to Clinton, buy all of the crafting recipes Robin has for sale, and ask her to upgrade the coop. I complete the bat eradication goal pretty much as soon as I enter the mines, which is a good sign of things to come. At least I hope it is. Level 10 in combat has been achieved, leaving me with one final skill to work on. I'm level 8 in foraging, which isn't too bad. I did reach level 8 before chopping down a bunch of trees, so maybe I'm already close to level 9. I don't know. I finish off the Dust Sprite eradication goal, earning the oh so valuable burglar ring. I want to get the Shadow Guy goal done before I go to the caverns again. I wasn't able to do it tonight, but that's okay. An Iridium band has been created on day 79. One of the Shadow Guys I defeated dropped a prismatic shard. I feel like that's the universe's way of letting me know that I made the right choice, going after the Shadow Guys rather than going to the caverns, I mean. I take a break from the mines to trade 10 Iridium bars for the Desert Warp Totem crafting recipe. I return to my monster battling escapades and complete the Rock Crab goal. Again, I wasn't able to finish off the Shadow Guy goal, but we have to be really close at this point. I harvest cauliflower on day 80 and I plant radish, pepper and summer spangle in their place. The second rabbit coop has been upgraded for the final time. I shall fill this one with rabbits too as soon as I have enough money. Over in the mines, a slime drops the Holy Blade. This is a very handy weapon. It can be used to defeat mummies without using any bombs. Very convenient. I managed to complete the Shadow Guy eradication goal at around midday. Next, I turn my attention to William's order. I fly through this order. I buy coffee and deliver the bug meat to William. Day 81 begins with a rabbit's foot. The coop full of rabbits is already producing rabbit's foot. Rabbit's feet? Rabbit's foot? Rabbit's feet? Which one is it? It appears my very expensive idea might just pay off after all. I grab my watering can and hand it back to Clinton. I spend the day in the Skull Caverns. I didn't get any of the monster eradication goals done, but I do feel like I've made a lot of progress on the serpents and mummies and Pepper Rex, basically every monster. So, yeah. The traveling cart is finally selling red cabbage seeds on day 82. I harvest poppies and summer forage, plant my red cabbage, and spend the day working on the shipping collection. I actually did quite a bit of work in this area. I made dehydrators so I could make dried fruit and raisins. I threw wheat and other things into kegs to make a number of different drinks. Sturgeon roe, fruit, and vegetables were thrown into preserve jars to make caviar, pickles, and jam, respectively. And I even had enough time to ask Robin to build a shed on the farm. I buy rhubarb and starfruit seeds before meeting William at the beach. He gives me the crafting recipe for the quality bobber. I donate a poppy, a rabbit's foot, and a duck feather. We are so close to completing the community center. Day 83 began beautifully, but very quickly became a heartbreaking day. Allow me to explain. The pomegranate tree has fully grown, so not only do I have another item I need for the community center, but I'll also get the third apple I need tomorrow. In a bittersweet moment, I harvest all of the cranberries for the final time. I pick up all of the fall forage, hitting level 9 in foraging as I do. I make 1000 fall seeds. I'm gonna hold on to 90 of them, just in case. My plan for today was to sell the rest of the fall seeds and my cranberries for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, I want to add 12 rabbits to the second rabbit coop. Reason number 2, I wanted to make sure I would have enough money for the rare crow and the jack-o'-lantern crafting recipe being sold at the Spirits Eve festival. The problem is, I can't go into town because of that festival taking place tonight. I don't know if the 6,700 gold I have is enough for both of those items. I really hope it is. No, it isn't. I can only afford one of them. I went to bed feeling very upset with how today went. I did earn 144,000 gold though, so that made me feel a bit better. After an unfathomable amount of time spent smelting, chopping down trees, gathering ore, defeating monsters, harvesting cranberries, and buying rabbits, we have finally made it to day 84. The day begins with the final apple I need, and I harvest rice and peppers. Things get even better when I spy with my little eye a red cabbage being sold at the traveling cart. Yoink! I grab a rare seed too. 12 rabbits have been added to the second coop. In total, we have 29 rabbits. Not too bad. I buy 200 hay, paying absolutely zero attention to the fact that, at least right now, I'm heading into winter with 5,000 gold. 15 iridium bars have been tossed into the shipping bin to offset some of the financial damage I've taken. A red cabbage, a pomegranate, and 3 apples have been donated. We only need 3 more items. A nautilus shell, a snow yam, and a crocus. It is entirely possible for us to get all 3 of those items tomorrow. Will we be able to complete the community center on day 85? Let's find out. I've made a realization as we begin day 85. We've entered the portion of the playthrough where things could go very, very wrong. Strawberries, blueberries, cranberry... Okay, I'm noticing a bit of a trend actually with the main crops I chose. Anyway, I can't plant anything like that for the next 28 days. Literally all I have are powdermelon and winter forage. I'm hoping for the best while also being very afraid of what could possibly happen during this season. And by that I mean how poorly this could go. I find a crocus beside Robin's house, leaving me with only a snow yam to find. I search high and low, but by the time I reach the special orders board, I still don't have one. I accept order number 2 from the wizard and find a nautilus shell at the beach. Okay, now I really need a snow yam. I collect my gold watering can, sell iridium bars, and hand my can back to Clinton. I meet the shadow guy at the bus stop. I try to say hello to him, but he runs away from me. How very upsetting. I sell even more things to Clinton in order to cheer myself up. I ask Robin to upgrade the shed before finding the shadow guy once again at the community center. He gives me a wonderful item known as the magnifying glass. I can now find and read secret notes. I do a bit of foraging in the forest and the secret woods. In a nutshell, I get everything except for the one item I actually need. A snow yam. At this point, I had accepted that I wasn't going to find a snow yam today. But then, I dug up an artifact spot beside the barn and I got the final item I need for the community center. I donate all 3 items and say goodbye to the Junimos that once lived here. This might actually be the earliest I've ever finished off the community center in a vanilla Stardew Valley playthrough anyway. I pop a heater into one of my rabbit coops. Then I get started on cleaning up the farm. Day 86 begins with a kerfuffle. My reward for completing the bulletin board bundles was 2 hearts of friendship with the non-romanceable villagers, so quite a few villagers. I was considering just giving up entirely on my friendships and not bothering with it for the rest of the year, but I really don't want to let those 2 hearts go to waste. So I think I'm gonna start giving items to villagers and talking to them on a daily basis. I'm not sure. I might. I will. Okay, yeah, I'm doing it. Okay, yeah. Okay. Thankfully, I'm in a much better position now than when I last talked about my friendships. I've got items that pretty much everybody loves. So I spend the entire day running around town giving out presents to everybody I come across. Day 87 begins with a meeting with the wizard. The resident witch of the valley stole his ink and he wants me to go get it for him. I suppose I can do that. But first I buy 3 heaters. Then I talk to Krobus and tell him about my mission. He very kindly opens up the entrance to the mutant bug lair. I head inside and run all the way down to the end where I find the Dark Talisman. Before continuing any further, I sell Row to William and I drop off the iridium bars, hardwood and battery packs that are needed to fix the boat. I say hello to Clinton. I didn't really want to, but he has my watering can, so I kinda had to say hello to him, unfortunately. I sell even more items. Forgive me for mentioning every sale I do, or like 99% of them. I don't know, I guess I like letting everybody know when I'm making a sale, just in case anybody gets confused as to where I got, a few thousand gold or maybe even tens of thousands of gold from. I don't want there to be any confusion, basically. I buy a wallpaper catalog. This was totally a completely intentional purchase. I definitely did not misclick. I absolutely did not buy it by accident. I spend the evening giving even more items to the villagers. Linus seems to be especially grateful as he teaches me how to make wild bait. Returning to the wizard's mission, I use the Dark Talisman to enter the witch's swamp. I give a void mayonnaise to the goblin henchman guarding her house. This allows me to run inside, grab the ink, and bring it back to the wizard. He tries to say thank you, but honestly, I'm not listening. I'm using the little shop we just unlocked inside his tower to move all of my buildings closer to my house. I really want to make the farm look not hideous during winter. And that brings today to an end. I make a beeline for William's shop on day 88. I pay 1,000 gold to be able to ride his boat all the way to Ginger Island, despite the only reason why his boat is actually working being me giving him the materials he needs to make it work, but I mean, I guess it's cool to charge me 1,000 gold despite that. If it wasn't William, we'd be having problems. Serious problems. I toss everything I won't need today into a chest before entering the jungle. I find 3 tent kits and our first golden walnut. I find golden walnut number 2 and then spend a couple of minutes placing gems on podiums. Eventually I guess correctly and receive 5 more walnuts for my troubles. I head inside the treehouse and whack a tree to receive walnut number 8. I give one to a parrot in order to open up the north of the island. With an infinite amount of pep in my step, I collect every single golden walnut available to me in this area. I'm really hoping for the absolute best case scenario here. That scenario being me emerging from the volcano dungeon before midnight with around 30 golden walnuts. That should give me plenty of time to run down to the beach, unlock the west side of the island, and then buy the farmhouse on that side of the island. I made 50 bombs last night just to be extra prepared for today, and I am really glad I did because they're making it so much easier to get to floor 10. I collect golden walnuts, dragon teeth, and cinder shards along the way. I even find the dwarf sword in a chest. I find a golden walnut, a prismatic shard, and a second walnut. I use my watering can to make a pathway going to the left. From there, I head outside and grab 2 more walnuts. I do exactly what I hoped I would. I unlock the west side of the island and use my last 20 walnuts to buy the island farmhouse. I receive a further 2 walnuts by breaking muscle nodes on the beach, and I find another in a dilapidated boat. Day 89 begins with a golden walnut scavenger hunt. Similar to yesterday in the north, I collect every walnut I can get my hands on. I also chop down these mahogany trees, which I don't think I've ever done before. It never occurred to me that I could do this for some reason. I clear away all of the rocks and weeds and wood on my farm, and I dig up a walnut and a quality bobber. I spend the remainder of the day planting seeds. Ancient, fairy rose, fall, melons, wheat, and mixed are all going down. And a starfruit seed that I got as a reward from the museum. That's also been planted. I finish planting everything with a bit of time to spare. So I spend 10 walnuts to unlock the dig site. I use a bomb to free Professor Snail from the cave he was trapped inside. He owns a field office here on the island, which of course means we have yet another person to donate items to. I gather 3 more walnuts before passing out. It is time for some fishing on day 90. I catch a blue crocus before setting my sights on the snakehead artifact. You can get it by fishing in the river here on the farm. I fish up a walnut, and a second one, and a third, and a fourth, and a fifth. Finally, at around 3 PM, I get my hands on a snakehead. I dig up a walnut and a pearl and do even more fishing at the dig site. Thankfully, I find the fossilized spines so much quicker than I did the snakehead. My luck for the day continues to improve as I get the fossilized tail while doing a bit of panning. A total of 6 artifacts have been donated to the field office. 5 more remain. I answer 2 survey questions correctly for 2 more walnuts. I then use 20 walnuts to unlock the island resort, catch a lionfish, and go east. I catch a walnut, dig up a walnut, and play a game of darts 3 times to earn another 3 golden walnuts. I dig up 1 more before catching a super cucumber and a stingray. I break some muscle nodes in the hopes of finding a golden walnut on day 91. I do not get a golden walnut. We've collected a total of 71, which, yeah, it's good, but it also means I have to get another 29 to access the walnut room. I pay a visit to the wizard, but only to move some things around on my farm. I found a Reddit post that shows how to make a lovely circular tree design for the farm. I'll talk more about this later when I'm actually planting my tree seeds. Also, I gave a gift to the wizard. I might as well. I pick up a few rabbit's feet and pop over to the quarry. I use bombs to quickly clear the area out. I get ores, gems, and even a prismatic shard. I head on over to Clinton's where I crack open a bunch of artifact troves, geodes, and golden coconuts. This gives us a much needed boost in the museum collection department. I get a golden walnut and a fossilized skull from the golden coconuts. I don't need anything other than the skull actually. I could go after a banana and a mango tree sapling, but even if I did get them, they wouldn't be ready until next year. So there's really no reason to get them right now. Okay, yeah, we're good. We don't have to crack open any more golden coconuts. I make a few cork bobbers in preparation for something that I'll be doing very soon. Then I remember the order I accepted from the wizard. We might be in a bit of trouble here. I have to defeat a ghost, hope it drops an ectoplasm, and then bring it over to the wizard. And I don't have a lot of time to do it. That being said, I do enjoy a challenge. So I go to the mines and use the elevator to get to floor 65. The moment I confirm there's no ghost on the floor, I go back up to the surface. Then I go back to floor 65. I was doing this so quickly that I genuinely began to feel nauseous. Like I wasn't feeling good here. Thankfully a ghost drops the ectoplasm, so it was worth it. Although I really don't want to do that ever again. I buy a coffee in the saloon, drink it, and run over to the wizard's tower as fast as possible. I receive 2,500 gold. The crafting recipe for the mini obelisk has been received on day 92. Linus has an order for me. He wants me to fish 20 pieces of trash out of the water. I will get it done, but it won't be today, because I am going to Ginger Island. Except no, I'm not. Right. See ya tomorrow. I'm beginning to have a bit of doubt when it comes to my rabbits on day 93. I know I only bought them during fall, but I was really hoping to get more rabbit's feet by now. I'm desperately trying to stop myself from thinking that I wasted all of that money when I could have spent it on starfruit seeds. I invested about 300,000 gold into these 2 coops. I could have bought 700 starfruit seeds. I might have messed up. No, I'm not going to think about it. We're good. This is fine. I don't regret my choice. Speaking of money, I need some. Like, badly. My plan was to spend the entire day fishing at the top of the volcano dungeon. If you toss a gold star lava eel into a smoker, it sells for over 3,000 gold. Now, to be fair, I was catching probably 9 out of 10 lava eels that were popping up, but it just wasn't fun. You know, the catfish, sturgeon, super cucumber, I actually really enjoyed spending full days just fishing for them. But I'm not getting that same feeling here. I don't know the reason why, but I just don't want to spend the entire day doing this. Maybe I burnt myself out on fishing. I decide to leave early with 9 smoked lava eels and another 2 ready to be smoked. In much better news, the final crab pot item has been acquired. A shrimp. I sell my lava eels along with a few other items to earn 43,000 gold. I'm having a bit of an issue on day 94. The guide I'm following to make the big tree circle thing, it says to put tree saplings to the left of the greenhouse. The game won't let me place them there. I do have a solution, however. I move the greenhouse out of the way, plant the 2 saplings, then move the greenhouse back to where it was. I make deluxe speed grow, buy 80 starfruit seeds, make even more speed grow, and plant my seeds. I find the mummified frog artifact in the jungle, and I formally introduce myself to Leo. The frog and the skull have been donated to the field office. Only 3 more items remain. I sprinkle deluxe speed grow on my melons to begin day 95. I get a walnut from a muscle node and return to the farm in Pelican Town to work on my trees. It took all night, but I finally have it done as we start day 96. I'll have a link to the Reddit post with the guide I followed down in the description, just in case any of you want to try to make this yourself. I spend the rest of the day as well as day 97 converting a shed into a storage area. Here is the result of that on day 98. I started putting down wood flooring, but they had this weird cloudy outline for some reason. I'm not a fan of that. Not at all. So I get rid of them. I end up going for a very basic design. But I mean, hey, at least we have all of our items in one place now. As I head to bed, I can't help but think to myself, I forgot to do Linus's order. Oh no. I sell a bunch of animal products on day 99 to revitalize our bank account. I catch a perch and a lingcod before taking a look at the special orders board. Neither one of these will give me a crafting recipe as a reward, so I don't think I'll be doing either one of them. I catch a slime jack in the mutant bug lair, buy some coffee and salads, and turn the coffee into triple shot espressos. I make some grass starter and place it on the ground, literally only in the hope of more grass growing from it. Winter is horrible if you run out of hay on a Monday or Tuesday. There's barely any grass, Marnie's shop is closed. It's as if the game punishes you for not keeping count of how much hay you have. I ask Robin to build a shed, catch a void salmon, and try but ultimately fail to catch the glacier fish. I think what I'm gonna do for this one is I'm gonna unlock the mastery room and work my way towards fishing mastery. That way I can get the advanced iridium fishing rod. If I equip 2 cork bobbers to it, then I should be able to catch the glacier fish with no issues. I hope so anyway. The night market is open, so I head straight for the submarine. I catch a blobfish and a midnight squid. I do not catch a spookfish. I want to go to the caverns for the entire day tomorrow, but we still have day 101 to catch the spookfish, so I'm not worried. At least not right now anyway. Day 100 is here, and I've kinda already said what I'll be doing today. I wasn't looking for any items in particular, I just wanted to get a bit of work done on the eradication goals. I suppose we can consider today to be a success. I finished off the mummy's goal, so yeah. I placed 32 furnaces into a shed on day 101. I fill them with iridium ore. Iridium bars could actually be a very good way for us to make money. Although all I'm really buying right now is hay, so I'm not in any rush to make any more gold. I buy some wood from Robin, sell some items to Clinton, and ask Robin to upgrade the shed. I buy hay and toss it into a silo and make sure my rabbits actually have food today. At this point, I can honestly say I regret buying all of these rabbits. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't think this through. I'm kind of embarrassed about this, so I'm going to move on to something else as quickly as possible. Can we just forget I did this? I dig up an artifact spot to get the fossilized ribs, and I harvest fall forage. I break 8 muscle nodes and get 1 walnut. I was hoping for more, but okay. I show the melon and wheat to the frog in the cave for another 10 walnuts. I harvest all of the crops, earning 2 more walnuts as I do. I plant winter seeds, get another artifact at the dig site, and donate 2 items to the field office. All that remains is a second snake vertebrae. Professor Snail gives me 6 walnuts and a banana tree sapling, which I happily accept. I spend the remainder of the day in the submarine where I don't get the spookfish. I set a goal to catch every fish before the end of winter. That goal is in serious jeopardy right now. I can still do it, but I need to be quick. Day 102 begins with a letter from Lewis. I have to give a gift to Sam at the Feast of the Winter Star. I plant my banana tree sapling in the greenhouse where I discover that the fruit trees have started producing, fruit. The rabbits, on the other hand, have decided they only want to produce wool. Yeah, alright. I sell iridium bars to Clinton and wool to Abigail's father. I buy 250 beet seeds and 25 rhubarb seeds. I only bought the rhubarb because I can't remember if I planted them already. The beets are actually important though. I was planning on planting them on Ginger Island. They don't take too long to grow. And more importantly, you can get a total of 5 walnuts by harvesting crops on Ginger Island. I still have to get 3 more of those 5, hence the beets. It turns out I wasted my money. I harvest starfruit and get all 3 walnuts from them. I break a muscle node and I get the snake vertebrae. Alright, finally, some good news. Thank you. I bring it over to the field office, completing the entire collection. I receive 3 walnuts, a mango tree sapling, and the crafting recipe for the ostrich incubator. I use 10 walnuts to unlock the island trader. Then, with a total of 100 walnuts collected, I finally enter Mr. Key's walnut room. He has 2 orders for me. One of them is the key bean order, which I refuse to do. I'm not doing it. I don't like that one. The second order is to give 50 loved gifts in a week. Maybe this is the universe's way of telling me that buying all of those rabbits was the right choice? It wasn't. I'm just trying to make myself feel better about the worst choice I made in this playthrough. Maybe even the worst choice I've ever made in Stardew Valley overall. I retrieve my Omni Geodes from a chest, trade them for artifact troves, and toss starfruit into the shipping bin. I had unique items for most of the villagers, and I had a rabbit's foot for anybody who I didn't have a unique gift for. I plant my mango tree sapling in the greenhouse and call it a day. Garlic seeds are being sold by the traveling cart on day 103. I'm gonna plant that on Ginger Island. I can show it to the frog when it's grown for another 5 walnuts. The gift-giving extravaganza must continue. I should receive the crafting recipe for tea saplings tomorrow. I say should get them, but I will. Unless something goes horribly wrong, in which case I might just cry. I buy hay, ask Robin to build a shed, and buy 100 starfruit seeds. All while giving items to anybody I come across. I finished the day with a total of 36 out of 50 loved gifts. Some of the buildings on the farm have been moved around on day 104. I take a walk around town handing out even more items. Harvey is never in his clinic, which makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. I guess he doesn't need to work, considering he robs 1,000 gold out of my pocket whenever I pass out. I'm not going to ignore that, Harvey, and I'm certainly not going to forget it. I continue giving gifts for most of the day, which brings us to lucky recipient number 50. I wanted it to be Linus, but I couldn't find him. Do you want to know who I did find? Harvey. Of course. Despite everything I'm saying, Harvey is a good villager, so I'm just messing around. Harvey's cool. After earning a tasty 40 key gems, I can't help but notice that Gustavo isn't in the saloon. I make a beeline for Ginger Island, where sure enough, he's standing behind the counter, ready and waiting to sell me the tropical curry cooking recipe. I plant and water my starfruit before spending my key gems on nothing. I wanted to get the missing stock list, but I need 50 gems for it. Oh well. Day 106 does not begin in a very good way. Both of the orders Mr. Key is offering are disgusting, and I also make the realization that I slept through day 105 by accident. When day 105 rolled around, I was thirsty, so I left my desk to get a bottle of water. In real life, I mean. I was thirsty. When I came back, I, for some reason, thought I was still on day 104, so I went to bed. Winter has really taken a toll on me, I gotta say. I am stumbling my way through this season. This isn't going very well at all. Well, it feels like it isn't, but it could be going worse. I'm gonna take it easy today and chop down a few trees. I feel like I've earned a bit of a resting period. Well, I had one actually on day 105, but you know what I mean. What am I doing? Thankfully, the day ends on a good note. I finally hit level 10 in foraging. I decide to play a game of Junimo Kart on day 107. All I have to do for Mr. Key's order is get 50,000 points. I'm gonna do something I don't normally do. I'm gonna get to the point. I wasn't able to do it. I didn't even come close. I harvest a bunch of winter forage over on Ginger Island. Then I spend the remainder of the day putting stone pathways down on the farm. I want to make a monster musk on day 108. So I defeat a couple of bats to get all of the wings I need. Now, in order to actually hit level 1, I need 10,000 experience points. Going through the caverns is a very easy way to get a bunch of experience. I'm talking multiple thousands in a single day. Especially if you drink a monster musk before going inside. And when you are inside, you focus on making bombs and, blowing as many things up as possible so you can get combat and mining experience. In fact, I end up getting almost 6,000 experience today. The Feast of the Winter Star takes place on day 109. I give an iridium quality cactus fruit to Sam, and Robin gives me 99 pieces of wood. Today was a good day. Day 110 begins inside the caverns. I complete the Serpent Eradication goal, reach level 1 in Mastery, and complete the Pepper Rex goal. I leave the caverns, trade Omni Geodes for artifact troves, and enter the Mastery room. I unlock Fishing Mastery and take my beloved Advanced Iridium Fishing Rod over to the lair of the Glacier Fish. I'm using a trap bobber and a cork bobber, which makes things a lot easier. I remember saying a while ago that I was going to use 2 cork bobbers. I forgot about that. Hence the cork bobber and trap bobber here. With the glacier fish defeated, all that remains are the spookfish and a squid. How have I not caught a squid yet? Huh. I buy hay on day 111. I plant my starfruit and spend 10 key gems on 40 magic bait. I also grab the key to the town for 20 key gems. I go fishing at the beach where I catch a squid. I then spend 3 whole minutes fishing before realizing that I'm standing in the wrong spot. I have to be standing over here in order for the spookfish to appear. Alas, it does not appear. And here we are on day 112, the final day of winter. I'm having a bit of difficulty catching the spookfish. It doesn't want to show up. I even had to go and buy another 40 magic bait because I ran out of the bait I got yesterday. I was beginning to lose all hope. But eventually, and I mean eventually, the spookfish appears and I catch it. I crack open artifact troves, make a few donations to the museum, and head over to the mines in the quarry. One of the artifacts I still have to get can be dropped by the enemies inside here. As I'm walking up to where the golden scythe is, my game lags for a split second. That was a warning. A few moments later, the game freezes. Then it unfreezes. Then it freezes again. Then it crashes. Okay. I guess I go to the beach on day 112? Again? I feel like the universe felt bad for me because the second fish I caught was the spookfish. I crack open artifact troves until I've got all of the donatable items I can get from them. I dig up a strange doll and run through the quarry mines again where I get the prehistoric skull. After grabbing the golden scythe, I donate 6 items to the museum. I only have 6 more left. I already have one of them in a chest somewhere, and I can get another over in the desert. Speaking of which, the second strange doll has been obtained. And I get the palm fossil from an artifact spot. I search every chest in the storage shed. I was beginning to think I had misplaced it, until I checked the chest right in front of the door, and there it was. In hindsight, I probably should have checked that chest first. I deliver all 3 artifacts to Gunther, and that is the end of day 112. I enjoyed that a lot more than I thought I would. I was so used to always playing with mods that the idea alone of not using any was a bit daunting. So with that in mind, I am shocked at how well spring, summer, and fall went. Something deep within my brain must have finally switched on because I don't think I've ever been that productive during that whole period of time. And then winter arrived. I'm not going to say the rabbits were a mistake. I still feel like it's going to pay off. Though maybe I'm just trying to convince myself of that so I don't feel silly for spending 300,000 gold on rabbits. Okay, now that I'm saying that out loud, Yeah, I made a mistake. If I had spent all of that money on starfruit seeds, who knows how much money I would have made during winter. All in all, I am truly over the moon with how these 112 days went. My 4 goals were to complete the community center, unlock the mastery room, catch every fish, and earn 1 million gold. And I actually did all 4 of them, and I actually achieved all 4 goals. The farm could certainly look a lot better, and my friendships are not as bad as they could have been. The non-romanceable villagers are almost all at 3 or 4 hearts. I've got around 5 to 7 hearts with Linus, Sam, and Pam. Everybody else is at 1 or 2 hearts. It could be worse, but it also could be significantly better. Anyhoomst, I think it's time to bring this video to an end. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me play through these 112 days. Feel free to let me know if you'd be interested in a part 2. I would be more than happy to play through another 112 days. If people want to see it, that is. I want to give a special shout out to our channel members. A very big thank you to Brianna Rutt, Mervyn Set, and Siesta Kira. And with that, have a good one.